You're listening to the Name Drop podcast, where we reveal the industry experts and brilliant founders behind the marketing campaigns and brands you know and love. In a world where things change fast and marketing is the opposite of static, we are here to reveal the marketing geniuses and how they find their inspiration, hoping to inspire you along the way. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Name Drop podcast. Today we're going to be joined by a guest in the health and wellness space. She's going to be sharing some awesome insights with us around how to market in a space that has been changing quickly over the past 5 years. What types of challenges brands are facing when they're growing quickly, and what leadership looks like when you come in early days and start to scale quickly. So really looking forward to this conversation and hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Welcome to New York.
Yes, thank you for having me.
How are you feeling today?
I'm good. It's, a Monday in the city. It's a good combination. I feel like I'm not working, but working.
Yeah.
So a weird Monday, but a good Monday.
That is a good Monday.
Yeah.
And it's not terribly cold out.
No.
It's kind of nice.
Exactly.
Sun's shining.
Yeah. I had my jacket on this morning, then I got hot. So I'd rather be hot. I'm like, this is good.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So without revealing yourself, tell us a little bit about the things that you're thinking about professionally right now, opportunities, challenges, what's top of mind?
So for me, I'm trying to think about my role as we're growing. It's different than it was. And so what does that mean day to day? So we're all in the office every day because of the company, what we do, we all need to be in the office. But I'm trying to figure out if I need to be in the office to pull back some, to focus on what I need to do, not the day-to-day items, but then making sure how does that translate into the team, into the day-to-day of their lives, and then me not feel guilty, which I shouldn't because I need to focus on other things. And then also we're opening another office location, and each office brings, great wins, but also changes dynamics and adds more people, adds another city. So really trying to see what does that mean for us and for the team.
Interesting. Yeah. How do you, are you the culture builder for your locations and teams right now? Or how do you think about that?
Yes, very much the culture builder. And as you know, culture is huge. Yes, it is a buzzword that I think people try to use, but so many words are, right? But really making sure that with different locations, the team feels included with the people we work with, they feel, part of, who we are in every location. But we want to build something different, and that begins every day with the team. And I do believe I play a big role in that and making sure, because it's an everyday thing, right? Yeah. You can't just say, this is our culture, good luck, right? Especially when you're bringing on different people and we're growing. So people are growing, the team is growing. So the culture is going to shift a little in how it's going to look, even though we want to stay to our core values.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough, especially as you think about how much does your physical presence need to be involved in order to keep building that culture and making sure the team's headed in the right direction. It's so much easier when you can be hands-on with it, but that's not how it always should look either. So what things do you have to put in place in order to have it moving without you being there looking after everybody every single day?
Exactly. Yeah. And I really think most of this is in my own head, the guilt of not being in the office every day. In previous years, every week I would be in a different office. Yeah. And then this year I was I really have to pull back from that. And so I have an incredible team, and they show up every day and they're examples and they hold each other accountable. So I think part of it is just me feeling okay with it and confident and explaining it to the team. It's this is why we need to, and then just letting it be.
Yeah. Yeah. Easier said than done. And it takes time too. Yeah. I mean, those things don't happen overnight.
Exactly.
But to your point, having people that you trust in different locations who can be boots on the ground for you, I feel is so important.
So important. That's why we always talk about everyone on the team's a leader. And it's going to look different because we're all different. We all have different roles, but everyone on the team is as a leader. And that's why when we're hiring, it's like, yes, your day is 9 to 5 technically, but we don't want that 9 to 5 mentality, because if we want to build something different, it takes everyone on the team.
100%. So brag about yourself a little bit. What are you proud of? What do you think you're better at than anybody else?
Oh gosh, that is a great question. So I would say that we've opened 7, almost 8 offices in 4 years. And I think in my mind, it's just been like a norm. It's like, okay, this year we're opening 2 more. But then actually thinking about that is pretty incredible, especially we are also in client services. So when we're building, hiring, training a team, it directly impacts the people that we are working for and with. And so I think it's really a testament to hiring, which is you always hope for the best, training, that we're able to grow as we're growing our internal team, and staying, I would say one of the things that I'm very good at is staying consistent. So there might be peaks and valleys of, I'd say, that month that we had hiring issues, training issues, or just branding, right? Some people think like, why aren't we growing fast enough? And I think I'm just very good with staying consistent, staying true to who we are, because that's how you grow.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. And I think in a fast growing business, I was just talking with the previous guest about like shiny object syndrome, where it can be so easy to kind of look at another opportunity and think it could be something that's the next big thing, or that strays you from your original purpose and vision of the company. And staying focused on what you're aiming to do is so important, but it's hard.
It's so important, especially that if you're working with people that don't understand the day-to-day or don't understand the marketing, then they see something on Instagram and they're like, well, they're busy, they're growing fast. It's like, 1, are they? You have no idea what their business actually is like. And 2, you've got to understand what goes into even just an Instagram post, right?
Yeah.
People are like, why don't you post about this or that? I'm like, come join the content team. Let's just see what goes into it. So it's just that understanding, that respect, and just staying focused on you and your company.
Yeah, totally. So you mentioned your business has grown very quickly over the past 4 years and was around prior to that as well. How has your brand evolved over time? Like, what things do you think have changed? What things have you made sure held consistent?
Yeah, so first, yes, we were around a few years before I joined, and it was a different company name. So we had a full rebrand back in 2019, and that's when the evolution of who we are now, I believe, started. Is when we started, focusing on the brand, who we are, hiring out a team, and really becoming a company. Before it was single location, and now I'm very specific of we're a company with different locations, and not just the norm of what people think we were before, or what the industry that we're in, and really changing it, and just building it every single day. Because I remember people would be like, what are you doing? Where are you working? And it's just, one, we fully believe in what we do. So that has never changed. And we're very focused on who we serve. And then education is huge. And that has stayed consistent over time, but also so different. So, who we work with, that was always our top, focus, but how we educate them, how we serve them, we always are trying to get better and better at that. And then going back to being consistent is always huge. And I think sometimes too, being simple, is so key. We're very focused on what we do, and it all goes back to that, instead of trying to do 15 different services, and that may work for you, but that's just not what we're focused on right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And at the end of the day, the customer needs simple messages, especially to understand complex topics, because they're getting served these messages in an environment where they have so many other communications coming their way. If it's not easy to digest, it's going to get passed by.
Exactly.
So I think, especially in the space that you are in, it's so important. And the educational piece that you spoke about too, which I think I can give this away without revealing who you are, but working in the health field where that's constantly changing, your approach to education has to evolve with that as well.
Exactly. And then just by adding the team, like we were a very small team. It was basically 3 of us. And so just by adding the team, by learning what, they need, by training, then we can serve who we're dealing with in the health space as well, and understanding, okay, what do we need to discuss with them before that we even see them? So definitely learning experience, but staying true to those 2 items.
Totally. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you face with your marketing today?
I would say, so in one specific location, we are competing with these national brands that do not have locations where we are. And it's very different than what we do, which is kind of unfortunate, but I know it's the lay of the land, but that's what we're really working, because that location specifically is very different than our other markets on like the search front. And the biggest difference is there's these national companies, several of them funneling so much money into those markets. So really trying to understand how can we differentiate ourselves in the search space for what we do, which is already very specific.
Yeah, I can see how that would be challenging. I mean, you guys are providing a physical service in specific markets. So each market behaves differently, and the customers in each market behave differently.
And we were just doing a search because, again, like what we do is very specific, needs a lot of education. So if someone's just searching, they may not realize how we're different in just that overview. So really trying to understand that and how we can show how we're different.
Definitely. So what would you say, what relationship has been most impactful on you professionally as you look back at your career?
I would say, I mean, so many, right? And I think that's the beauty of what we do, that we can meet so many people. And when you own a company, you and the company are together, right? In so many different ways. But I would say the relationship with myself, because in the beginning, I was like, what am I doing? And I also feel like people are always going to have opinions of what you should do. And in the beginning, you're like, I'm young, I haven't done this. But then I think the biggest thing, staying confident, your company, you're going to make mistakes 100%. But for me, these past few years, just really being confident in myself, listening to my gut, but also you have to, educate and prepare. But I think just being more confident in who I am and the role that I have at my company.
Yeah, it's so important. And it's hard in the early days when you don't have the data points from previous experiences to say, okay, when I did this in the past, I saw XYZ results or next steps take place. You're kind of shooting from the hip and hoping your judgment is the best way forward.
Exactly. And especially if you want to create something different, you're kind of on this own journey, which is a great thing. And that's why it's always great to talk to people, have those relationships, read, but also you have to be okay with yourself in knowing the right decisions, but also being okay to fail.
So do you think that the self-doubt ever goes away, or do you just get better at dealing with the mini failures?
Oh, it never goes away. Maybe one day I'll get there, but it never goes away. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like every day you're thinking about, did I make the right decision? I've got to make this decision. Is the team okay with that? And so, or even it could be a small conversation, but if you're like, there's a disagreement, which disagreements are healthy, but it's still part of your day. It's like kind of a little wave, right? I'm not a person that likes conflict, right? Probably most people don't, but it's kind of part of my job. And so it's just being okay with it. And also at the end of the day, my job is to make decisions. Like making a decision, it's so hard. And so if we're too late on making decisions, then we might be missing something. So being okay with making a decision and figuring it out after, if it's a bad decision, good decision, and building on it. But yeah, no, that self-doubt is there every day.
It is. It doesn't go away. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were interviewing the founder of It Cosmetics, and she was talking about this idea that your relationship with rejection says a lot about how much you'll be able to accomplish in life. And when you are rejected, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And I think my response to that has changed so much over the years. Like early days when I wouldn't get a client that I wanted, or someone didn't want to work with us, I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm devastated. Like maybe we're not doing good enough work, or our value proposition isn't strong enough. And now we don't get a client and I'm like, oh, on to the next.
Exactly.
You know, like it doesn't uproot me as much as it used to.
And like you also learn so many people you meet, they're projecting on you, right? Have they put the work in? Are they not putting the work in? And hopefully we're all trying to put the work in every day to become better. And that's going to look different for each person, but 100%. And sometimes you just want to like take a step back. It's like, can I learn something from this?
Right.
And if not, then you just move on.
Yeah. And to your point, it's rarely personal.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I think that's part of the magic of like getting older is realizing that and then just being okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say is a piece of advice that you would give people who are looking to take on a leadership role at a company, or, you know, do something different than the traditional career path?
I say 100% do it if that is what you actually want to do. I think the biggest thing is if you want to become a leader, grow in your role, grow in a different role, you're going to have more responsibilities. I think sometimes people think as you grow in your career, you're going to have less responsibilities.
That's so true.
Which is not the case.
No.
So just knowing that you're going to more responsibilities, you're going to have hard conversations with people you work with, but it's so rewarding if that is what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, tell us who you are and what you do.
I am Tylar Brannon, and I'm the CEO of Optimal Bio, and we are a medical company that specializes in hormones, and we have 7 medical practices with the 8th one opening in March.
Amazing.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about Optimal Bio.
Yeah. So that's why education is a huge piece of what we do, and we work with patients. And so that's why it's so important for our training, because we deal with patients every day. But hormones are, the foundation of our health, and so many people don't understand that. I didn't know that before working at Optimal Bio. And, there's a lot of, so there's synthetic hormones, there's bioidentical. And what is bioidentical? It means it's all natural, and it's the exact same molecule that our body produces, so it knows how to metabolize it. So there's not going to be a negative side effects like a synthetic hormone. And then we dose your hormone dosage off of your blood work. So it's very personalized to you. And the top reasons why we see people every day, no matter if they're 25, 65, male, female, brain fog, fatigue, trouble sleeping, anxiety, and depression, which so many people have. And people are like, well, why? And it's because as we age, our hormones decrease, but because of environmental factors, our food supply, water supplies, beauty supplies, chemicals are making our hormones decrease at a lot quicker rate. And also when your hormones are in that optimal range, it acts preventative. So it helps protect your brain, your bones, your heart. So really a twofold effect of day to day and then keeping you healthy as you age.
Amazing.
Yes.
I think the hormone space has come a long way in the past 5 years. I think since I even knew about Optimal Bio and your work there, it was so fresh at that point. Yeah. And now, you can go on TikTok and find all sorts of content around the benefits of having optimal hormone levels, what it means when they're low, what things disrupt your hormones. It's fascinating.
It's so cool to see. Once I started, no one was talking about hormones. And then every year, is bigger conversation, even the conversation on birth control. And it's really, really cool to see because it makes such an impact on people's health. Yeah. And so it's just that could be what's going on. So just kind of providing a solution for someone that they may have these symptoms for years.
Right. Instead of getting on a prescription drug that might not even be solving the core problem in many cases.
Because we most of our patients we see have been to other doctors. And they're like, here's a prescription. Oh, you're normal. It's just you should be tired when you're 35. And it's like, so I'm going to be tired for the next 80 years of my life? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Interesting. So what would you say is the high and low of your role currently?
The high is we have such a great team, and it's incredible to see the growth that we've had, internal and external, over the past few years. I think sometimes when you're in it, you kind of forget about the growth, or you're like, well, we got it on to the next, right? Yeah. But really seeing that. And 2 is the brand recognition, which is really cool. Like, you know, the search, when people are now searching Optimal Bio more year over year, it's just a testament to what we've been building. 60% of our patients are patient referral. So really making sure like the patients feel good, they're getting that experience that they want. And that's the biggest thing, because as you grow, you want your patients to walk into any office and get that same exact experience. And the low, I would say, I think it's not a low, it's just a growth problem, right? It's just how do we keep the team wanting to grow with us, right? Because as we grow, it's going to change a little bit, or responsibilities may grow, but making sure we are structuring internal growth as we're continuing to grow externally.
Yeah. Hard. I mean, growth is hard. I think a lot of times there's this notion that like things are going to start taking off and it's going to be smooth sailing and you're making more money and the team's growing. And yes, but growing pains are a real thing.
Exactly.
Like, that's not just said.
No.
There's so many operational adjustments that need to be made when you're growing quickly that if you don't solve effectively can literally throw everything off kilter.
Exactly. If you don't have the structure operations, like, don't grow.
Yeah.
Because things are going to break. So let alone if you don't have that structure, is really going to impact, especially like we're both in the service industries, right? And that's always going to affect your team as well.
Yeah. I mean, we struggled with that last year, late 2022, we grew faster than we had set up our internal structure. And you feel the pain when that happens. You really feel the pain. And then it forces you to slow down growth because you have to rebuild that foundation. Otherwise, there's nothing to grow on.
No. And no one's enjoying it either. You're like, feel like you're always like treading water, which I feel like we might always feel like we're treading water, but we don't want the team to feel like that every day, right? And also being okay with some employees may have a certain season with you and it's okay to move on to add. So I think it's like remembering seasons is very helpful as well.
For sure. So tell us a little bit about your background. How did you end up at Optimal Bio as CEO? What came before?
Yeah. Who knew? Like, do you think you're going to be CEO when you're younger? Maybe some people do. But growing up, I always thought I was going to be a doctor. My dad's a doctor. I did rounds with him when I was younger, like saw surgery when I was in high school. I was like, all right, I love science. I love, being in that space. And then went to college, pre-med. And then I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Like by the third chemistry class, I was like, do I want to do this for like the next 10 years? And then I switched and I went to law school. And going into law school, I always knew I wanted to be on the business side of things. I didn't know what that meant, but people don't realize you can do so much with law. People think, oh, go to law school, you're going to be a lawyer. Right. It's like, no, there's many different things. They teach you to think so differently, which helps me every day. People are like, do you use it? I'm like, yes, every single day I use it. And then in school, I got my MBA because I was like, want to be on the business side. But as you know, you learn everything when you're working, right? Moved up to DC, worked up there for a few years on the business side. And then in 2018, was ready to come back to Raleigh. And being there, like Cisco, Red Hat, I was like, I'll work at one of those, kind of having like a 20-something midlife crisis. Not, like what do I want next? And I knew I didn't want just the average, I don't know, like
9 to 5
law firm, like what do I want to do? And at that time, Optimal Bio was a different name, small office, and my dad's actually the medical director, and he was like, can you come help us at the hormone office? And I said, no, like hormone office?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm like, good luck, but no. And I had no idea about any of it, right?
Yeah.
He asked again, so I was like, sure, like I'll come help you. And there's like paper charts everywhere. It was a normal small medical office. And so I went in there, we went paperless. I made SOPs. I love SOPs. I love structure. It was like step 1, unlock the door to like everything that we do there. But also like I flipped rooms. I was a patient coordinator, so really learned everything. We used to call every patient and reviewed all of their labs with them. And I did that So it was like great course of like reviewing labs, understanding, then hearing like patients' concerns, symptoms. And then I was like, all right, like I'm going to leave. Good luck. And then someone recommended me to stay and create my own company. And I was like, create my own company? And it was someone that I really respected as a person, as a business person. So I said, I'll give it a year if you're my mentor. And here I am. I love creating a brand, love creating a team. But at the end of the day, I fully believe in what we do. And that is what I think you need to keep going on the really hard days.
Yeah. What a journey.
What a journey, right? Yeah.
I mean, these things are rarely linear. I think in all the conversations, you know, we've only had probably like 6 or 7 at this point with this podcast, even hearing people's story of how they got to where they are. It's never the path that you think it's going to be.
Absolutely not.
And you have to, especially to be in a CEO position, you have to take a risk on yourself, right? Like you could have said no when that person was like, stay and be the CEO. You could have been like, yeah, I'm good. But what are we even doing here? This is small little thing still that I don't know if I
We were seeing like
the future.
20 patients a month, and now we see over 1,000.
That's amazing.
And that's why I think each experience connects, right? Even though it might not make sense. And two, it's like, who you are as a person, it's there. And you just have to figure it out.
Yeah. And having that experience of being a patient coordinator and doing such a core part of the business today, having that hands-on exposure is so important.
You have to. So everyone on the team, except for providers, they start as a patient coordinator.
That's awesome.
Because that is our heart and soul of the company. It's dealing with the patients. And you have to have that respect for that day to day.
Yeah.
But it's huge. I mean, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. When I started Indie, worked on client work until last summer for the first time was when I stopped billing to clients like 30 hours a week, like a lot of time to clients. But I think even though I probably held on to it longer than I should have because it's my comfort zone, you get to relate to your team differently and your clients differently having done that job. And I think it's just gives such a different layer of perspective when you're like, no, I've been in the weeds and I've dealt with a client that's challenging, or I've been in a situation where we had to overcome XYZ obstacles. I think it's really important as a leader to be able to relate to that.
Oh, so important. Like people say like servant leader, but I think that's the only way to be a leader.
Yeah.
And especially as you're running a company, to have that perspective, and the team like should respect you that you had that perspective. You've been there, right? And then it helps us too because we have been there. So to understand what's going on and to make the right changes or help them walk through like an issue.
So what's one thing that you've learned about yourself through this leadership journey?
I would say that I am a strong person because I think when you go through the day to day, but and I can that's what I would say. To make it simple, I'm a strong person, because I think when we're in it, that's just who we are and that's our job. But to kind of step back and kind of give yourself grace, it's like, wow, like the things that we do each day, the weight on our shoulders every day, but still showing up to your team.
Yeah. So being resilient and just getting back up.
Exactly.
Every time.
You just got to be like, all right, like I'm going to have my workout in the morning and start the day and we can do it.
And it's a new day.
It's a new day.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. What's one piece of advice you would give to CEOs of a fast-growing business?
I would say you have to be all in it. Like you're going to be working a lot, and be with your team. Like whether it be a team workout, a team dinner, because sometimes it feels like it's just another thing to do, but it's so needed. We had a team dinner with the providers on Friday night, and it was like such a good reminder. It was just nice to be with the team, not in the office.
Yeah, it's good to take a step back and have like the human moments. I mean, business is a people exercise. So to be reminded of that and be like, oh, these people have lives outside of work and families and other things they're passionate about. Right. Like it just creates a different level, I think, of connectivity.
Oh, completely. And instead of just another Slack or another email or another something to solve, right? It's just like, who are you? Like, I love it.
Amazing. So I guess just to round it out on a marketing question, like how do you see the Optimal Bio brand continuing to evolve?
Yeah. and I know I've said this before, but just the education piece.
Yeah.
So going into this year, I was like, there's so much information out there that can help people.
Totally.
And my social medias are very curated, but not everyone else's, right? Because that's the space I'm in. I want to learn as a person, but also for my company.
Yeah, and your algorithms are now just serving you
exactly
the exponential amount of content available.
So of course I'm going to see every article about vitamin D, right? And but I was like, how can we give that to our patients, but also just the random people that follow us on Instagram? Like, I want to be that educational content. And so really trying to build out, yes, like on the content front, but building out a wellness program at Optimal Bio.
I love that.
Because, for instance, like cancer, the rates are going so far up, right? So if we can just provide a conversation about why are they going up? How can you keep yourself more healthy, right? I just feel like that is why we're here. That especially Optimal Bio, like we serve patients and really providing that to people because we keep getting sicker as a society and we shouldn't be. So how can we just give a little tidbit of information to someone that could really help them and their family?
I love that. And I think, you guys already do supplements and supplementation. And I think educating more around that is something that would be just amazing for more people to know about, because I'm always surprised how few people understand how their mineral levels impact their overall health.
100%, because we're so in it. And it's just like, no, we need to take a step back. Or like red dyes and 3-year-old kids. Like, it's like, oh, my kid had a tantrum. It's like, yeah, you just gave them red dye. Their poor brain is literally on fire right now. So really trying to dive into that and provide that type of education as well, not just hormonal education.
I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I know.
Big
excited. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
excited. Yes.
Cool. Well, let's end it with a quick round of trendy or tragic. Okay, so first, contrast therapy. So cold plunge plus sauna and or steam room.
Yeah, 100% trendy. I struggle with the cold plunge, so I fully admit that. But it is so good for you. Yeah. So I'm glad it's trendy because I think it's really going to help people. And then maybe dive into like eating better, walking. Like, I think it's open for people to start getting healthier.
Yeah. Well, I think we can share with everyone that we did this recently.
Yes.
It is so trendy, though. I'm like, if I have to listen to one more, I listen to a lot of wellness and health-focused podcasts, but literally every health and wellness podcast is like, but do you have a cold plunge in your house? And like, did you put the infrared sauna in yet? But, I know
it's funny because in high school, I'd go in the sauna because like the gym that was like in our neighborhood. And I was like, yeah, I did that. But I'm hoping that it's so trendy, but it's getting people healthier, understanding our bodies are incredible.
Right.
And too, really pushing yourself and not being comfortable.
Right.
It's so important.
Yeah. And if that's a way to get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Like, you might as well.
Right. Hopefully maybe one day I could get to my ankle in the cold plunge. We'll see,
I believe in you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we used to do ice baths in high school, like in garbage cans after hard track workouts. They would literally like dump gallons or pounds of ice into there, and you jump in, and it's like, now it's way bougier. It's not a garbage can of ice.
Yeah. My cold plunge is like when I'm leaving the gym, I just don't put my jacket back on. Baby steps.
Exposure.
Literally, I'm like, okay.
That's funny. Yeah. How about, I think I've noticed as at least I've gotten older and as my career progresses, I spend way more time on LinkedIn. Yeah. And I think that seems to be a trend across our demo. Yeah. Trendy or tragic?
I have to go can I go in the middle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think I just wish some days all media was gone. I think I'll go with trendy if I could drop like another one. Because I feel like sometimes we have to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's fair. And like if you can get rid of Instagram and just be on LinkedIn, for example.
I like Instagram.
I know, me too.
But like, if I could just say, say Facebook. Like, I don't even use Facebook, but my Facebook is connected to Optimal Bio.
Right.
So it's just the fact that it's on my phone. I have to like respond to people's comments. Yeah. Sometimes it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm in the middle of LinkedIn right now because also all these random messages you get from people.
Oh, it's so bad.
Like, it's got to stop. It's very weird. Like, I got a text from And it was so weird. Like it messaged me, and it was like someone's assistant. Like I'm like, and then got a text. So let's stop the messages, and maybe I'll feel better about LinkedIn.
I know. I'm like, as an outsider, if I wasn't doing the job I'm doing today, I would say it's tragic.
Yeah.
However, it's a necessary evil. Like
Agreed.
all of my clients are on there. All of our partners are on there.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish I had started honestly trying to build a voice on the platform sooner, because I think LinkedIn takes time and nurturing and
It takes
effort.
so much time. No, it is a necessary evil, 100%.
It is.
Yeah, so I'll be posting on there. We'll be posting on there, but it is, and it does take so much time.
Yeah, it really does. Awesome. Last one, the carnivore diet.
Okay, so I have to go tragic, but the principles of it, I completely agree. Like meat, like animal protein is probably one of the best things for us. And I think we're trying to get away from that, which we shouldn't be. But I think when something's so extreme like that, my biggest thing is like wellness, and it needs to be for your lifestyle. And sometimes like if you have like certain illnesses, it can really help like heal you. But overall, I think I personally cannot just eat meat for everything, but I'd rather do that than the other options of not eating animal meat.
Yeah, fair. I agree with you. Anything that's perceived as a one-size-fits-all approach or an extremity, it's just not realistic.
It's not, and our bodies are so different.
I was going to say.
So different.
Yeah.
And like, guys might be able to do carnivore diet so much better.
Right.
Like, just me thinking about only being carnivore, like, hurts my stomach, you know?
Right?
That's why I think people, like, really need to listen to themselves. I think we've gotten so detached from that because we're all, like, staring at phones or seeing what someone else told us to do. But your body's telling you.
Yeah.
Unless it's telling you, like, eat sugar all the time, but train it. But it's like your body knows, right?
It knows
and, like,
what it
listen
needs.
to it when it's like, if, like, for instance, like, I can't eat spinach, but, like, every day I was, like, putting spinach in my smoothie, then I didn't feel good after, and then, like, took a test, like, you can't eat spinach. I'm like, well, if I just listened to myself, right? So, yeah.
Fair. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so fun, as always.
Yeah, thanks.
So tell people where they can find Optimal Bio and you.
Optimal Bio, we're just Optimal Bio on LinkedIn, Facebook, social media, TikTok. We have YouTube channel. And then I'm Tylar Brannon, Tylar, on socials and LinkedIn. You got to put LinkedIn, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. So you guys can find us on Instagram at namedrop.pod, and I'm at Malbakes. Thanks so much.